So if you've been staying up on my videos, then you should know that I'm really into D&D. What you may not know is that I'm actually pretty new to D&D. I've only been playing for about the last 8 or 9 months, so I often make some mistakes, such as when I was talking about how to roll a d4. This is what's called a d4. When you roll it, you take the top number that's facing most towards you. If it's kind of on the corner, then you just roll again. What I didn't know is that the top number is the same no matter which corner you're on. I don't roll a lot of d4s, guys, God! Which is surprising because my first character is a rogue. So for those of you who have never played Dungeons & Dragons, here's a little description on how you play the game. It's like the ultimate imagination play. You and a bunch of people are just thrown into a fantasy world of the dungeon master's choosing. You create your character within the rules of the player's handbook, and then you play. Ever play an MMORPG? It's a lot like that, only way more freedom, because the limit of what you can do is your imagination. And if you can't do it, well, the DM will just say that you can't do it. The DM basically comes up with a story or a campaign for you guys to follow, and then depending on the kind of DM that you have, you can either follow the story or do whatever the hell you want. And the way you play can also make a big difference on how you're treated in the world. Here's some examples. The very first character that I made was a high elf rogue named Kadash. I fucking love Kadash. She's a very skilled thief, but she's also an amazing fighter. But she really loves to steal, like a lot. Like there are times when it's really gotten us into trouble. Not just me, but my party. Example. Me and my party were in an elaborate basement. Inside this basement was a Noth. According to the Forgotten Realms wiki, Nothics were the result of a curse befalling wizards who delved too deep into arcane knowledge. Once transformed, the Nothic held no discernible memory of its former self, except for a faint notion that there might be a way to reverse its condition. Nothics have a particular attack that can do a lot of damage, and this Nothic happened to have a secret stash of treasures. So what does my thief character do? Naturally investigate it. I was able to sneak up to the treasure with no problem. The problem was actually stealing it. I rolled my d20, and I failed to steal a magic sword without him noticing. So what does he do? He hits me with an attack that basically kills me right on the spot. Thankfully, we had a one-time player that killed him at one shot right afterward. And when I say kill, it's very unlikely that you just die right away. You actually get knocked unconscious. And then to die, you have to be either attacked 3 times or fail 3 death saves, where you roll a d20 3 times and see if you live. That was the first time my character's rambunctiousness got her into trouble. The second time almost killed my entire party. A few days later, we found ourselves on a mission to deliver a special trinket to a banshee. Apparently, if you give a banshee a special item that she might want, you can ask her any question and she'll answer it for you. I have a monk in my party that doesn't like my character very much. He's very lawful good and backhands me across the head if I ever steal. So we went into this house to give a banshee a trinket. Me being very suspicious of this monk character and possibly suspecting him to be a eunuch, I naturally followed him inside. The banshee was already unhappy to see him, but then to see me, it made her even more upset. But he gave her the trinket and she answered whatever question that he had. I don't remember what the question was. But then she put down this trinket right next to a bunch of awesome elven jewels. And then she disappeared. So what did my thieving senses tell me? Go steal some stuff! My monk friend was not very happy about that. He was able to talk me into just stealing 1 out of the 3 things there. So I picked an elven amulet, and then we walked out of the house and then we casually strolled towards our party. And then what do we hear? A banshee wail! When this happened, the DM asked everybody to make a saving throw. Half the party failed this saving throw. Do you want to know what happens when you fail the saving throw when the banshee wails? Your health drops to 0. If you succeed on the saving throw, though, you still take a lot of damage. So I almost killed the entire party just because I wanted an amulet. I try to stay true to my character, but it gets us into a lot of trouble. And that's part of making a D&D character. It's really important to have some flaws. My monk friend in the party is obsessed with opening doors. No matter what might be behind that door, he's going to open it. It may sound like a dumb flaw, but it's gotten us into a lot of trouble, and it's almost gotten him killed before. In another campaign that I'm in, there's a barbarian that actually has to make sanity checks. He has an invisible demon following him around. One instance, he rolled very badly for a sanity check. He rolled what's called a natural 1. When you roll a natural 1, typically you get punished by the DM, because that's the worst roll that you can possibly get. So what happens to him? He becomes insane for 100 days. In a standard D&D campaign, unless you literally stop all your action for a while, to go through 100 days would take a lot of sessions. But when you end up insane, you have to roll a d100 to see what happens. Insanity can have different effects. You could be stunned for 100 days. There's a chance you must always attack the nearest creature, whether that person is an ally or a foe. You could experience an overwhelming urge to eat something that's strange, like dirt or slime. Or you could lose your ability to speak and babble nonsense. What happened to him, though, is that he rolled a perfect 100. He fell unconscious for 100 days. Thankfully, we were able to cure him because we had the right spells. But that could have been very bad for our campaign. Anyway, this has been D&D Explanations! I hope you learned something today. And I hope if any of you have any interest in playing, you should go find some people to play Dungeons & Dragons with. It's really fun to play. Anyway, it's 1:30 a.m. I should probably get to bed. No time to go to bed though, so I'm just going to cast sleep on myself. All I need to cast the spell is a little sand. Hey Dale Gribble, can you help me out here?
Pocket sand.